Hello, this is Rabbi Lisa Malik, and this is my Dvar Torah on Parashat Behar. Proclaim liberty throughout the land unto all the inhabitants thereof. Sound familiar? It should. These words are on the Liberty Bell in downtown Philadelphia. It was rung in 1774 to announce the opening of the First Continental Congress. Some say that it was also rung in July of 1776 to summon citizens to hear the Declaration of Independence. These words are in this week's Torah portion, Behar. Ukratem dror ba'aretz lechol yoshveha. This parsha presents various laws regarding the Shemitah year, the sabbatical year. Our ancestors were told that for 6 years they were to work their fields and vineyards, but during the 7th year the land is to be given a complete rest, a Shabbat Shabbaton, a Sabbath. And every 50th year is to be a Jubilee year, a Yovel, in which the fields and vineyards may not be worked and which all indentured servants would be granted freedom. The Yovel, the Jubilee year, also marked the return of any property purchased during the previous 49 years to the original family owners. The Jubilee year was to be announced by the sounding of the shofar. The Torah's description of the Yovel, of the Jubilee year, provides the context of the words on the Liberty Bell. Every 50 years, the land and the people are to be liberated, to be set free. What does it mean to be free? There are many ways to define liberty. In the Declaration of Independence, our founding fathers stressed the importance of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Some examples of American civil liberties are freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of religion. Rashi comments that this is how he defines freedom. Shedar b'chol makom shehu rotzeh ve'eino birshut acherim. You are free if you can live wherever you want and if you are not subject to another person's authority. What does liberty mean in the context of the Torah portion? It means free to rest. In the Jubilee year, the land is free to rest, as it is during each of the Jubilee period's 7 cycles of 7 sabbatical years. It's no accident that the number 7 figures so prominently in the description of the Yovel year, the year of liberty. It is reminiscent of the 7th day of the week, the Sabbath day, a day on which we are required to rest from worldly, non-spiritual pursuits. When we observe Shabbos, we are supposed to recall that God rested on the 7th day of the week, after working for 6 days to create the world. Some of you may be familiar with the book, The 9 Questions People Ask About Judaism, by Dennis Prager and Joseph Telushkin. The authors write, and I quote, "One of the purposes of the laws of Shabbat is to produce a state of inner peace by having us desist from all work not geared to making the Shabbat holy, and by having us rely on our own minds and bodies. By not watching TV, using computers, or otherwise relying on external sources of creativity, people are compelled to return to themselves for creativity. All creativity on Shabbat should come from within the human being and from God, not from external sources. All week we rely on external vehicles of creativity and amusement, especially in the form of technology. On the Shabbat, however, we must return to ourselves to be liberated from dependence on technology." Many of the Zmirot that are in a bencher for Shabbat describe the liberating aspects of Shabbat observances. So even within the 39 categories of restricted activity, or maybe actually because of these restrictions, one experiences a true sense of freedom by observing Shabbat. One of those Zmirot is called Dvar Torah, referring to 2 words in this week's Torah portion and the words on the Liberty Bell. Dvar Torah, proclaim liberty. When we rest on Shabbat, we are essentially proclaiming liberty. Shabbat is a jubilee of sorts, during which we can truly be free. On Pesach, one of the things that we do to signify that we are free is to have pillows, to sit on or recline on these pillows. You remember the fourth of the four questions, our Bakushiyot, is Manishtana halayla hazeh mikol haleilot, shebechol haleilot anu ochlin ben yoshvin uven misubim. Halayla hazeh kulanu misubim. So all other nights we eat sitting up or reclining. But tonight on Pesach, we all recline. And we recline on pillows to symbolize that we are no longer enslaved, that we are now free. Free to rest, free to relax, free to recline, free to practice our religion. And it's not only on Passover that we remember the Exodus from Egypt. Every seventh day, when we observe Shabbat by resting from reliance on external sources of creativity, we recall that we were once slaves in Egypt. As slaves, we had to work continuously and were not given the freedom to rest. In Egypt, there was no option to refrain from creative activity. We observe Shabbat not only Zikaron Lema'aseh Bereshit, as a remembrance of God's creation of the world, but also Zecher Litziat Mitzrayim, as a remembrance of the Exodus from Egypt. And both of these aspects of Shabbat observance are mentioned in the Friday night Kiddush. Shabbat observance is a powerful reminder of creation and of the Exodus. Shabbat is a very special gift. And I have to say that during this period of pandemic and confinement, Shabbat is a gift that I have been cherishing even more than I ever had before. While all of the days of the week blur into each other, while we are stuck in our homes and spend hours on the phone, on computers, watching TV, the one day that does have the potential to feel different is Shabbat. That's the one day when we can refrain from technology, when we can take a walk, read a book, rather than passively sit in front of a computer or TV screen. This is the one day when we can refrain from technology and truly proclaim liberty throughout the land. Can you hear us? Before I sign off, I also wanted to share with you a haiku and a poem. The haiku was written by Ed Nickow, a member of Temple Chai, a Reform synagogue in Long Grove, Illinois. As you may know, a haiku has 5 syllables in the first line, then 7 syllables in the next line, 5 syllables in the third line. These are actually 2 consecutive haikus of 575, 575. And I dedicate this to Bonnie Farron, Zichrona Livracha. She loved writing haikus and sent text messages to her son, often in haiku form. The Liberty Bell has words from this week's portion inscribed upon it. Proclaim liberty, a Jubilee commandment, and our nation's creed. May we look forward to the day when we can all proclaim liberty and emerge from the confinement and health and safety threats of this pandemic. May we be liberated speedily and in our day. Behar-Rabbi Amenu, Bagalav Vizman Kariv, V'imru. Amen. And now the poem. Started our Kabbalat Shabbat service with this. I'm going to share it on the screen. I heard that we are in the same boat, but it's not like that. We are in the same storm, but not in the same boat. Your ship can be shipwrecked and mine might not be, or vice versa. For some, quarantine is optimal, moment of reflection, of reconnection. Easy and flip-flops with a whiskey or tea. For others, this is a desperate crisis. For others, it is facing loneliness. For some, a peace, rest time, vacation. Yet for others, torture. How am I going to pay my bills? Some have experienced the near death of the virus. Some have already lost someone from it. Some are not sure their loved ones are going to make it. And some don't even believe this is a big deal. Some of us who are well now may end up experiencing it, and some believe they are infallible and will be blown away if or when this hits someone they know. Some have faith in God and expect miracles during this 2020. Others say the worst is yet to come. So friends, we are not in the same boat. We are going through a time when our perceptions and needs are completely different, and each one will emerge in his own way from that storm. Some with a tan from their pool, others with scars on the soul for invisible reasons. It is very important to see beyond what is seen at first glance, not just looking, more than looking, seeing. See beyond the political party, beyond the religion, beyond the nose on your face. Do not underestimate the pain of others if you do not feel it. Do not judge the good life of the other. Do not condemn the bad life of the other. Don't be a judge. Let us not judge the one who lacks as well as the one who exceeds him. We are on different ships, looking to survive. Let everyone navigate his own route with respect, empathy, and responsibility. Can you hear that song? Have a wonderful week.